What should you do when you're struggling to make payments on your debt? So what should you do if you are struggling, right? Struggling to make that debt payment, stressed out, right? And find that your finances are just really out of balance. So the first thing I would say is you don't have to struggle and stress about this alone in isolation in a vacuum. The number one most important thing you can do in the shorter term if you are struggling with debt payments is call your providers. Call them up, right? Whether it be the bank where you have the credit card, maybe the student loan provider you have. If you have a mortgage, it would be the person who runs the mortgage and how you pay it. But the point is just call them. And this seems really obvious, this seems really simple, but I don't actually think it is. And I know when I had credit card debt, right, when I was in school back in the day, it didn't occur to me. It felt very transactional, like you go online or you go into the bank and you make the payment or you don't, and that's kind of it. Didn't really feel like anything that I could call anybody about or talk to about. There was obviously a lot of shame around debt, and I found that this tends to crush people, right? And it makes the whole situation worse. Enough of that. Call them, right? And you have to start a dialogue, start the conversation with the provider around what you can pay and what you can't. And I say this because often it's not going to be explicitly stated all over their website, but they want to help you pay, right? They want you to be able to pay. They don't want to see missed payments. They don't particularly want to see late payments. They want to try to work with you to come up with a plan that's actually feasible and actually manageable. Take my word for it. If you haven't spoken to your providers, do it. Side note, will you likely be on hold, for 35 minutes with elevator music? Yes, absolutely, but it's worth it. So even if you have to set aside an afternoon or an evening to get this done, gather all your information, right? Things around your income, money you're bringing in, what you're spending, and just get on the phone with them and see what you can do. Say we have a lot of debt, maybe that debt's in different places. And I'm in particular right now going to speak to credit card debt because I know we can get into a cycle where we have multiple credit cards and we're holding a balance on all of those cards. So there's a few things that we can do here. The first is think about consolidating those credit cards into one personal finance loan. And this is something that you can do, you should look into. I know things are really abnormal right now, but things are going to calm down, right? We're going to get back into routine and habit in the economy. And the providers of these loans aren't necessarily traditional banks. There's a lot of online providers, really consumer-oriented, consumer-focused companies that want to help people. And they can help you get a personal finance loan and take all of your credit cards that are maybe floating out in space, right, all the debt, and roll it into one place with a much lower interest rate and a place where you make one payment. So no, your debt isn't going to just disappear, but it's a much better outcome than having all of these credit cards. And I find people stressed about making the payments and making them on time and late fees and late charges and all that stuff. No good. And then the last thing I would mention is use technology to your advantage, right? A simple point, but a powerful one. You've all heard the saying, there's an app for that. There's an app for everything. It's effectively an app to help those who have multiple credit cards and credit card debt consolidate it into one place so they can see it all and make one payment through the app. This is not sponsored. They don't even know I'm talking about them. I just thought their product was really amazing. And I wanted to get it on everyone's radar if you're someone who's maybe struggling with debt payments. There's ways to take action to maybe not make the situation perfect. We know that, debt is heavy and debt is hard to deal with, but to make the process better and smoother and basically take a step forward with our finances.